Hello, friends. I'm gonna try not to cut off my head this time, and or mess with my hair, or talk about anything to do with my looks. But here we go. This is always my intro. It's so stupid. I'll get used to it. Anyway, I have terrible allergies, so if I seem like I'm slurring my words or whatever, it's because I'm on Benadryl. Anyway, but I still wanted to keep the ball rolling and get this out. So, um, scroll back to old videos if you have not started listening to me read parts of Who is My Child, which is the book I wrote. It's about finding the best way to teach your children based on their individual learning style um, and personality type. My name's Jilliann Beck-Bryant. You can find it on Amazon, Kindle, barnesandnoble.com, and anyway, go catch up if you are behind. Because we are already on one of the last chapters. Okay, so I'm going to give you on chapter 13 a look into the balanced child day. Um, so we start our day with a positive, calm greeting. We get down to the child's level, much like Montessori, Reggio Emilia, and other theorists of their time. And sorry, I make edits because this is the first time I'm reading it too. Uh, and other theorists of their time who believe that children are born good and it's our world that strips them of their innocence. We also believe children, like all human beings, prefer to be treated equally. All Homo sapiens, big or small, like to be in control of their environment. This also builds rapport and trust between you and the child and causes less power struggles, unlike an authoritarian approach where adults act domineering towards children. We are stern and consistent when needed, not passive or aggressive. We are an authoritative philosophy, you could say. We do not recommend electronics until at least age 6 or 7 when children can separate fantasy from reality easier. Even then, they're used in moderation, no more than an hour a day, and as a reward for doing their work first. We feel it is important, and that's like mainly as a mom, probably not in the school. I don't know. We feel it is important to get with the times and teach necessary navigation through technology, but also realize it worsens social skills. My theory is that it's linked to autism in children. See previous chapters. Notice the spike in autism with technology. Might not even be vaccines, people. Who knows? Or it could be both. I realize this could be coincidence because technology probably aided in diagnoses, but it is also known to increase autistic behaviors. We teach children to be responsible members of society, so the first few children that arrive can be helpful to the teacher setting up the classroom for the day, or can choose an activity on the daily job board they would like to be responsible for later. Um, Examples like door helper, line leader, um, whatever. Then they may choose a quiet activity. It is important for children on the autistic spectrum or with sensory integration disorder to come into a calm setting, dim lights, quiet music, or silence, etc. This helps earth signs feel grounded before they start their day and helps the other elements get a little more grounded as well, or the earth child if you don't go by the signs. Once all the children have arrived and picked a job for the day, we all have a good hearty breakfast. It is the most important meal of the day. However, fasting plays its good part too. Um, but I don't mess with fasting with children. Adults, yes, but keep in mind, if you and or your children are not yet hungry, never force yourselves to, let alone a child, to eat. So it's an option, it's not a requirement. I say this for 2 reasons. One, children don't have much control over their day, so it's important to let them have control of 3 things: eating, sleeping, and eliminating, i.e., poop or pee. I am all about intermittent fasting and eating when you genuinely feel hungry. Um, but it should be a positive experience. So We encourage it, but we don't force it. Anyway, also, if school doesn't start until about 9 a.m., then you might consider breakfast to be more like a brunch. Many parents might not like to admit this, but it's hard to find the time to get everyone ready and out of the house, let alone make a breakfast that consists of protein. Uh, our brains need protein for easier concentration, more information retention, and better functioning all around. Trust me, I minored in nutrition, and one of my professors who was on the board at Harvard told me this. Our stomachs need to feel full and bodies need to feel energized to get through our day in the most positive and effective way possible. Also, for brain development, retention, memory, uh, to absorb information. Um, that being said, some children's bodies respond better to the fruitarian diet, which is fine too. I believe in individualized curriculum and diet. While eating, we will talk about what we are eating and how it nourishes our bodies. We point out different flavors, textures, and colors of the food. We will also state how we are feeling so far and what we most look forward to that day. We can also share what we did the night before with our families at home or a special activity coming up that week, or if it was just a weekend, something you did. It is important that we allow children to discuss their thoughts and express their feelings, but we also want them to practice being present with their peers and teachers. Here is my magic word I will use often: balance. This morning discussion is very important for the water child. Suggested reading, put this in parentheses, 5 love languages, love colors, and any book on astrology. Because they need quality time and conversations around feelings. The air child needs conversation. The earth child needs tactile sensory experiences, so they usually love food. The only child personality type that might have a problem sitting at the table and has such a high metabolism usually that she may not even need that much food or rest time to function is a fire child. Since we're a balanced curriculum, large group discussion throughout the day is just as important as small groups or individual play. My suggestion to get the fire child to sit with the rest of the class at table is to calmly but assertively keep redirecting them to their chairs, saying, "We sit down when we eat to stay safe." Or like you can set a timer and be like, "Oh, you can just sit here for like 2 minutes." Or like I said, just make sure if they don't want to eat breakfast at all that you just offer them another snack or lunch, you know, between an hour and 3 hours after. Maybe you can work with their parents. Working with parents is very important too. And maybe you can work with the parents on, bringing a snack that they might like. And giving them some time when they feel ready. Because, like, power struggles with the fire child, you'll almost never win. And if they still clearly aren't interested, they're not going to starve. Allow them to engage in an independent, focused activity that they prefer as to not distract the rest of the room. Again, we never force, and that could be like a negative thing for everybody involved. And the other kids observing. That's just not fun for teachers or the child. So, okay, after the children clean up after themselves, they can have free playtime. The room is split into different learning areas: individual workspaces, spots for partners to work together, and places for small group activities. Each area has choices to work on one or more of the following learning targets: fine motor skills, cognitive, literacy, social emotional, gross motor, math, science, and art. It is important that areas are set up the same way every day. Unless you're trying to spark project interest, then surprise them with something new to get motivated and involved in your project approach. Look this concept up online if you want to know more about how it works in the classroom and how it gets even the children who are usually left out involved. I also explained this in a previous YouTube and chapter. Besides the sensory bucket, so they know where important things are. Oh yeah, you're supposed to change out the sensory. I was like, what? I was in the middle of a sentence. You're supposed to change out the sensory activities often, um, for sanitary reasons and to keep them engaged. But the rest of the materials, so they know where to put it away, should stay, like the shelves should stay pretty organized and the same. Like, don't be rearranging your classroom every week. Um, you can do little things to get them more interested in it, like putting some people in the dollhouse or some plants and animals together, like in the block area. You know, you can make it like new and creative and engaging every week. Just, you know, don't totally change, um, the imaginary play station all the way to the math station, the math station all the way to the science, because then they're going to be all confused and not know how to clean up or put things away, if that makes sense. Okay. This also gives a homely, safe, secure feel for their environment away from their own house. Water signs especially have separation anxiety. So having a home away from home is important for them. During playtime, we will give children a chance to go to the restroom. This is how we word it. Sam, would you like to go potty now or in 2 minutes? If he replies 2 minutes, which most children do, we set a visual timer for about 2 minutes and make sure to follow through. If they fight going to the bathroom, we say, would you like to go by yourself or do you need my help? Usually they go at this point, but if not, we gently take their hands and lead them to the bathroom. If they still fight, pick them up or guide them by their shoulders, because you never want to injure a child by pulling on their arms. If they still fight after that, we may want to call the parents or let them have an accident and deal with the embarrassment and clean up. Not humiliation in an abusive way, but just like, oh, that wasn't fun, so maybe they'll make it a more priority. Again, kids should be potty trained before they go to school, so this should never even come up or be an issue usually. Because we never want to force a child to go to the restroom for two reasons. One, liability, and two, toilet time should be a positive experience, or children might start regressing in their potty training. This is where the personality test and or astrology signs could come in handy, so we could possibly write up individual support plans, ISPs, used in public schools for children that need some intervention emotionally, behaviorally, or physically, or individual education plans, IEPs, used in the public schools to keep children on track mentally and academically for the children. This allows us to see where, it's hard to read this out loud because you're not seeing the punctuation. This allows us to see where they are at developmentally and what needs to be used for motivation to reach certain goals. If they are not meeting or exceeding goals by a certain time/age benchmark, they might need outside intervention. Like for Oregon anyway, MECP, Multnomah Education, something program. I don't know. It helps kids with disabilities and early intervention. Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to get my kombucha because all these allergy meds are making my lips really dry and my throat. I don't usually do this in my videos, but there you go. This is a longer chapter than some of them, so just bear with me. Okay. Each child must hit certain benchmarks for each area of development. I am a fan of the ASQ system they use at government-funded and NIAC-accredited schools, NAEYC. What I do not like, however, is the extra pressure it puts on staff. There should be an observer, documenter, evaluator to every classroom, a lead teacher for leading groups, projects, and teaching individual lessons, and 2 assistants for assisting. No power struggles in front of the children. Please know your place. You were hired for a certain position for a reason. There should never be 2 leads. Too many cooks in the kitchen, people. Changing, hopefully just clothes at this age. If you're not diapers, meaning. If your child is still not potty trained, they might not be accepted into this program because it takes away from the classroom learning. Unless, I might, charge extra or have a separate classroom or program that focuses solely on potty training, because some parents just don't want to deal with it. They have to follow through at home for it to be successful and work, obviously, but maybe they just want to pay me to potty train their kid. That's fine. I'm good at it, so whatever. Um, Cleaning and serving, you must have a food handler's card to every classroom. Again, people doing potty stuff should not be serving food and vice versa. Um, Speaking of food, I forgot to mention that in my program, anyway, I'm going to make it mostly faith based. Uh, Not like a typical Christian school where, um, like we will probably be using Jesus' name in our prayers, but we're not going to like shun other religions or beliefs. Like we'll try to incorporate all of them, kind of like a unity or Unitarian, because I believe that there's many sources to the same creator source, Heavenly Father. Um, so we will be saying a prayer before every meal. Um, but kids are welcome to share their prayer that they do at home. Um, as long as it's not demonic. That will not be welcome in my program. It's light only. If their mom's a witch, they probably are in the wrong school. And I'm not judging. I used to actually be in witchcraft. I'm totally saved now. A long story. Um, I promise you can trust me with your kids now. This was just a phase I had in, I don't know, preteen years. So, uh, anyway, yeah, just not my thing. So, after every child has had a chance to go to the bathroom, we split and gather for social emotional small group time where we discuss any conflicts from the morning time and go over rules and expectations for safe outdoor time. We then line up. Don't expect a perfect line at this age for too long, but for great tips, look up positive behavior intervention supports online. I think it's pbis.com. Um, Sorry, the kombucha's getting to me. Another thing that we want to probably talk about as they come in, and they pick their jobs, or at the meal time, or even you could do like a welcome circle, um, large group thing before you wash your hands and go to lunch. It's important to like go over the rules and expectations for the day, or maybe do some like calm, peaceful morning yoga, like again, not judging religions, but like not doing it on like a Hindu level personally. Like I want Christian parents to definitely feel comfortable that uh, we're not going to be brainwashing them some way that could possibly let in the wrong spirits and entities and you know anyway. Like I said, everything's sealed with Jesus still. So um but yeah, getting our bodies moving and stretching and to some calm music, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing really wrong with Buddhism, which isn't even a religion, it's a way of life, I guess. It's a tradition. Um, if I hadn't been kind of more holistic hippie, um, I wouldn't have even found Jesus, to be honest. So I think people need to be careful not to judge and close off uh, those peaceful, wonderful practices. I don't believe a lot of them are labeled as evil. I don't believe they are at all. Okay. Uh, Go outside on the playground, take a nature walk, depending on staff to student ratio and number of parent volunteers, or go on a field trip, usually pertaining to our current project. After fresh air, many children get hungry and or tired, so we offer a snack, preferably no sugar, it defeats the purpose, and rest time, if it's an all-day program. Many preschools have lunch right before nap. Here's why that doesn't work for children, in my opinion. One, they might get a boost of energy right before trying to rest. Two, no one should lie down immediately after eating. Three, usually the children are so exhausted and fussy by the time lunch is over, many cannot do simple tasks like clean up after themselves, use the restroom, which is a must before rest time, or getting their bed set up. This requires way too many jobs and expectations during a time where they are tired and likely to create power struggles or burst into temperamental outbursts. Um, yeah. And if they don't clean up, then their food gets all over their mats and sheets and stuff. It's more cleanup for the staff. It's gross. If they don't go potty, they could have an accident. It's just, I mean, definitely give them a snack. Don't let them go to bed hungry, especially if they didn't have that morning snack or breakfast. Um, but I don't believe in having like a super full meal and then having them lay down. Um, and then it also depends on the age. So if you have a bunch of 4 and 5 year olds, they might not want to sleep anyway, so they can sit up and read a book. That's fine. But for if you're working with 2 and 3 year olds, you definitely need to have them actually lay down for a real nap and not have their stomach too full before that, because that can cause indigestion and constipation and all sorts of problems. So, um, and if they drink a bunch of milk or water before bed, that's not good either. So, again, this is with a full day school. So, I'll get into that in a little bit. As childhood educators, the law requires us to provide at least 20 minutes of rest time daily for the children if it's a full day program. So, make sure their beds are always in the same spot unless they need to be moved away from hazardous toys or other children for behavioral reasons. We do not force children to sleep. We can help them rest their bodies for 20 minutes, but if it becomes a huge power struggle for longer than that time period, we are to give them a break. We also need to be careful that the child who behaves poorly doesn't get most of our attention. We can then focus on another child who needs nurturing, and forcing the first child still remains quiet and still to be respectful of others. Maybe a quiet book for this child away from where other children can see them and get jealous. Then return to that child and try again after you help the others. If this child becomes a disruption to the tranquility of the whole classroom, remove him or her for a few minutes and let them return when they are calm. If one staff is becoming too preoccupied with this child on a regular basis, do a behavior evaluation with directors, therapists, etc., and set up a behavior support plan ASAP to get one on one staffing help or to get the parents to pick them up early. There should be an office where this child can sit with a director during these times as needed, or a call home protocol so teachers can focus on the rest of the classroom. Also, sometimes, depending on the school and staffing and stuff, sometimes they'll take the non sleepers outside to play after they've given them a good at least 40 minutes to an hour of trying to rest and getting the rest of the kids to sleep that are going to sleep. Um, Careful with that because they might purposely not sleep so they can have the reward to go out and play. Um, but once the usual nappers are already asleep, and they won't be like, I want to stay up, it's not fair, and start crying. Make sure they're asleep, and then you can invite the clearly not going to nappers outside. Uh, or to maybe if you have a bigger classroom or gym for the non nappers or something. Teachers lead large group activities such as at least one social emotional circle time a day. Some examples of great social emotional things are like to do puppets or like a social story, um, uh, talking about problem solving that maybe happened on the playground or something. Meal times is a large group, and taking the children outside at least once a day. Outdoor time is very important because children get fresh air, they get to play uninterrupted, which many theorists believe most their learning comes from. They have the choice to play alone or with friends. It's a hugely important gross motor opportunity, and the environment is ever constantly changing, which can help a child become curious and or creative. This is hard in Oregon because it's so rainy. I get that. Uh, but they do need some fresh air. You know, if it's like super cold and nasty, you can do gross motor activities inside. But I suggest at least getting some air circulation, maybe opening the windows, fans, something so that it's not all stuffy and they're not, because they're getting sick all the time anyway. We don't want to increase that. It also gives us a boost of energy because the body clocks in our brains are connected to sunlight, melatonin, and other chemicals produced in our brain from certain activities. Air children need this for socialization and creativity, as do water children. And air children obviously need fresh air, right? um, Earth signs need to get outdoors on a regular basis to feel in touch with the grounding energy we all need. Fire signs need to run their energy out. Therefore, outdoor play at least once a day is necessary for every child. Um, and water children don't care. Usually, if it's raining, they'll still go out and play in the water. They love it. When children wake up, they should use the restroom again. Uh, then the children are offered lunch. I know if they take a 3-hour nap, this seems way too late, but remember we offered them a big breakfast, and most busy working parents in today's world prepare late dinners anyway. If they don't pick up starving children at 5 or 6 in the afternoon, they can allow themselves more cooking time so they aren't tempted to just pick up a quick, unhealthy meal on the way home. A later dinner and possibly even a night walk, bath, and books will settle your child nicely for a calm bedtime routine. Make sure to stay as consistent as possible with this so they know when to expect their sleep time. Back to school day, after children clean up their food, they are invited to play independently in the classroom again. When every child has at least 5 minutes to work or play with materials, we sing our cleanup song and enforce. Want me to sing it? Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share. And then I add to it, I say, it's time to clean up our toys. It's time to clean up our toys. It's time to clean up our toys so we can go outside. Anyway, and we enforce responsibility and organization. This is important for every child, but Earth children will probably be the most effective at it. It's necessary for the rest to learn how to slow down and pick up after themselves before starting something new. Then we join for a whole group circle dance song activity. This is a great opportunity for an art activity, poem, short story, show and tell, or discussion about our current project. Then we have at least 20 minutes of outside time. Art outside is also, or crafts are my favorite thing to do. Some children will have to be picked up by now, so invite the remainder of children inside to use the restroom one more time before their parents arrive. Note, I always prefer a part-day, part-time, learning-centered center over an all-day center. But if that's not an option, this is what the day would look like, with designated hours centered around different academic and other learning areas for each learning style of the children. The majority of above will be cut, or previous, will be cut in half with a part-time preschool. If you are only part-day, this is what it should look like, of course, again, with your own personality into it. Good morning. Children arrive hopefully fed around 8 to 9 a.m. and get right to work, after greeting friends and saying see you later to parent or guardian dropping off. Short, quick goodbyes are the best, especially for those water kids with separation anxiety. Don't linger. They get confused. It's easier. Just rip the Band-Aid off. They calm down, I promise. I also was that mom, like I was really worried, and it's totally fine. After 2 weeks, my kid adjusted fine. She loves her teachers and her peers. So if I can do it, you can do it. If my kid can do it, your kid can do it. Trust me. There will be free time activities set up based on different curriculums and developmental milestones mentioned before. The child-led activity time and good observation opportunity. This child-led activity time and good observation opportunity for teachers. That sentence doesn't make sense at all. I need to edit that. This is this child-led activity time is a good observation opportunity for teachers. Okay. Oh my gosh. Wow, it's longer. I thought it was a new chapter. I was like, why did it cut off at morning? No, it didn't. It's just my format and grammar. It just like kind of, I don't know what happened with the Kindle Create formatting. Okay, please don't judge me. Try to read past it. But there are like weird blank spaces and I don't know how to fix it. I've tried. Okay, then you have gathering. Group circle time. Do not force children to sit, give eye contact, or fully listen. Depending on the child, he or she may be listening from afar and absorbing way more information than you might assume. Strongly encourage and gracefully, gently guide, but don't be fooled by the sit down, shut up naysayers. If a child has an illness or learning disability where it's hard to sit and concentrate for long periods of time, engage in teacher led direction, and so on, try other methods. This child will not fit into your bubble of worldly expectations. When giving instruction to any child, however, make sure you are still getting down to their level and at least attempting eye contact. You may get super interested, but keep in mind that the autistic kid might not give you eye contact, but you can try. You may get super interested in activity and at least get the majority engaged. Then gather at the table for a little. Oh, okay. Before I go into that, also, if you're constantly trying to redirect that kid to circle, like the table thing we mentioned before, it's going to be a distraction for the whole class and you're going to lose all of them. So just focus on your circle for the ones that are listening. Get them to at least absorb it. And then the others, they're probably listening from afar. Have your assistant help them, but like don't make that your main focus. You'll get nowhere. Okay. Then gather at the table for a little snack. Stress the importance of healthy and filling, like protein, because for some children this is their breakfast. Another personal favorite is fruit for hydration, energy, and full brain activity, or something with probiotics for gut brain health connection. I'm minored in nutrition, so I'm all about this. Feel free to ask me questions. If you see my balanced diet plan, which I can give you the PowerPoint for, it explains how this prevents a lot of hyperactive, aggressive, tired behaviors, usually caused by processed foods, refined sugars, and carbs, that we definitely don't like to see in children, especially in a learning, productive, and enriching environment. Outdoor time, same as above, or mentioned before. Focused learning time, teacher led lesson, following majority of the children's current interests. For more examples, see Instagram page. It used to be the Balanced Child LLC. I'm probably gonna end up losing my license, and because I haven't done anything with it, I haven't started schools. I might even change the name. I might keep it. Who knows? I might have that copyright forever at least. Um, so now my Instagram, it'll probably change by the time you see this because that's just how I am. I probably have ADD too, or like really bad. Uh, so my Instagram page right now is the Dream Mother Daughter Dream Catching. And then there's something else. There's two different names. There's, the profile name and then the name everybody sees. So something to do with dream catchers because my whole, like, if you know Instagram at all, you have your highlights with like little pictures, and each of them is a dream catcher. I used to be a medicine card reader. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a Native American. Um, it's like a Native American tarot deck, but it's way more positive. It's not creepy or scary at all. Um, I still love them to this day. I just don't really practice them much. Um, unless I if I do the sage burning and the Palo Santo and I cleanse it with Jesus, I feel a little safer, but still I always ask God my questions now, and I actually turn to the Bible like randomly, so, or faith-based books, so that actually works for me better and leads me and guides me with way more direction and discernment than the other way I used to do. Anyway, but regardless, I love Native American traditions and culture, and we're catching dreams. Get it? So, um, we're all catching our dreams. I'm all about girl and women empowerment. And then I used to have a website. It was www.thedream/catchers.com. I don't own that domain anymore, so it's probably gone. I don't know if I'm going to get it back or not, but it was kind of like I wasn't just going to start a school, I was also going to do a healing center, especially for women and children. Um, we'll see if it ever comes into fruition or not, but that's what my Instagram is kind of focused on still, or now. Okay, back to the book. Left tangent again, sorry. Um, okay, parents pick up around lunch or nap time between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. So, like, preferably your school's like 9 to noon, or 8 to 11, or 8 to noon, or 8 to 1, 9 to 1, whatever. Okay. Communication with them is key. Do not give homework, but do try to make sure home is matching up well with the preschool schedule and learning opportunities. Maybe just a sheet of recommended activities to do at home or an article on child development. Oh, and did I mention every experience can be a learning opportunity? Children like problem solving through things in real time. Why did I skid my knee when falling off my bike? Oops, I forgot to wear knee pads, and so on. Again, with the pandemic, this all may have to go virtual. Well, this is when I wrote it, but now we don't have to. Thank God. But if there's ever another one. Okay. If you're interested and we can customize your child's individual needs, we've already done that. If you're reading this and the site no longer exists, blah, 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 you can find me on many other social media outlets, which will also allow you to email me or message me directly. Jilliann Beck-Bryant, I believe, is my Twitter, X, and my Facebook. So you can find me there too. Anyway, comment some questions if you want. That was a long one.